You guys want to hear a little bit about what we do as producers?
Yeah!
I was going to ask you a bunch of questions.
I don't have any answers. You're the man. I'll start this real quickly by just telling you guys what an honor it is, not only to be up here playing music, but to be playing with one of the legends, one of the kingpins of the contemporary jazz genre. And I'm not talking about kingpin. That's like the center, man. You know, and I'm not talking about just
babyface and get Bill Clinton, but never came.
Hey, Paul, don't start in with me. I got a couple tucked back in my brain right now. A couple little. No, I'll save that for later. But seriously, I grew up, you know, in school listening to all these great records and listening to artists of mine that really left impressions on me. Guys like Kirk Whalum and Dave Koz, and you know, we're hearing all that stuff. Rick Braun, Richard Elliott, Boney James. You know, the list goes on. And I was literally a student at the time, and this guy was doing all of that stuff single-handedly.
What are you saying? I'm old?
No, I'd say seasoned, maybe.
Okay, I'm coming into this. This is where I come in, right here. Get the control of these things.
Well, Carol, I was just about to tell them how honored I am to be on stage with Paul Brown. This is a really cool experience.
I was listening to the whole thing right there. And it's an honor to have you both here. Thank you so much for coming to Seattle. Filling our summer. Fantastically. And this is also a celebration of these guys, their music, all the music they worked on, the fact that they're starting out this great tour together. And for our Seattle fans, also Smooth in Seattle. So we thought we'd add a little radio to this producer show thing. And have a little fun with something that we don't get to do very often, and certainly don't get to do very often live. And they thought it was a great idea. And they're really good talkers, and I'm an excellent talker, so I'll shut up now and let them talk. So we'll start to my right. So, who was the first person you produced that wasn't your own band?
Actually, it was saxophone. In smooth jazz, I was really not really involved in jazz. I was doing R&B music. I was working with Luther Vandross, this group Shy, with their R&B acts. And actually, David Benoit was in the studio where I was working at Warner Brothers Studios, and he was mixing. He was producing a saxophone player named Sam Rainey. I don't remember Sam. This is about 88, 87, something like that. And he asked me to mix the record, and that's the first time I ever really been involved with the jazz record of any kind, you know. And so I mixed it, and Sam and I sort of became friends. He's a neighbor of mine, and I ended up doing a couple of records, producing Sam's records. So I started like getting my feet wet, and then I was working with Bob Caldwell and mixing his record. And I went on the road with Bob in Japan for a few months, and the sax player, second keyboard player, was Jim Amadine, you know, Boney James. And he was great, and we kind of hit it off, and we said, well, let's try to do something when we get back to LA. And at the time, like I said, I was working with Luther Vandross, and we had this concept of doing a R&B sounding Luther record with saxophone instead of vocals. And that's kind of the start of the urban, you know, smooth jazz thing. And a lot of people have gone after that, and it's a natural thing, a natural combination of really nice R&B chords with beautiful melodies and soulfully played, you know.
And that's the right saxophone.
And we did, Boney and I did 9 records over 15 years. Sold a lot of records.
Tosses these names out like it's, you know, no big deal. And I can tell you, in radio, and Dinah Rose is in the house tonight, and she will tell you what well. And I think, I'm not sure I didn't see him, I think Jay Phillips is in the house tonight too, actually. But they are, in the back, say hey. Yowza. And you can hear both of their voices as well on SmoothInSeattle.com. And if you guys aren't from Seattle and you just happen to wander into this room, you know, this is kind of an old home for a lot of us. But I wanted to say that Diana can attest that there was hardly a record for a good 10 years practically that didn't come across our desk that didn't have his name on it somewhere. Engineering, mixing, remixing, playing. I think I remember that's a little Mexican, raising the ground. That would have been the Rick Vaughan, Boney James. Shake it up. That was a big one. That was a really, really big
because
one.
it played like everywhere you went at the time, you heard that song. I mean, it was common to get played in hotel lobbies and that sort of thing. It was like supermarkets.
It's on Smooth in
It wasn't Muzak, but it was just everywhere you went.
No, definitely, it's not Muzak. It's a very cool version. It was nice to get an updated version of it, like you did with Limelight and some other things that have come along. And you have your stamp on an amazing cover song. And it was also kind of how things got rolling. And you didn't plan on being a producer, did you? You didn't plan on being a producer when you started your career.
This was my first one with Wayman. And you guys want to hear a bit of it?
Yes, the launch party.
I took a very different path into the industry than Paul did.
Yeah.
And I had gone through undergrad at college, I had gone through a master's degree, and I actually dropped out before a doctorate because I wanted to go do music. And so I literally pounded the pavement for 10 years after college, and it was getting hard. It was getting really hard. And I sat down one night and said a prayer, and I kid you not, it must have been 2 days later, I get a call from Dave Koz in LA saying, we heard the song you're working on come to LA, and I thought I was going to get signed. And they said, we love you. We want to sign you, but we can't. We're small. We just can't do it. But we overnighted your record to Wayman Tisdale, and he would like you to produce Ain't No Stopping Us Now. And the rest is history.
Yeah, it was amazing. And I know that you and Wayman had also like an incredible writing chemistry together.
It was completely, it was like match made in heaven and The Odd Couple at the same time. I mean, it was hilarious. Two completely and totally different people, and yet every time we worked together it was just instant.
Yeah.
If you guys remember his Way Up record, I did, I think, 4 or 5 tunes on that record, and I kid you not, I had gone to LA with kind of sometimes as producers we lay what we call beds, or tracks, which is kind of like, the foundation of the song. Beds.
Musically, yes, I do.
Get your head out of the gutter, guys. Or don't. Anyways, we had 4 or 5 of those, and Wayman and I sat down in his place in Calabasas, and in 45 minutes wrote all 5 tunes. And those are the 5 that you guys hear on that album. So yeah, it was an incredible gift that we were given to work together.
Absolutely. Then did you hit the beach and go work on the tan that he has?
He's
perpetually tan.
I'm not aspiring to be the George Hamilton of smooth jazz. But I will say this, that in my personal experience, I'm kind of like the Northwesterns, right? Like it's like you either have like stark white or monster red, right?
I call it, then you get the darker shade of pale, is what I call it.
Yeah. No, I wasn't even blessed with that. know.
Then I'm glad you work in a studio. You can stay out of the sun. It's not good for you anyway. But you look fantastic, man. You look fantastic.
Well, he's got the
You
tan.
look really good. Really good.
That's golf. Living in LA and golfing.
Well, let's see. So you golf. You're a poker enthusiast. He's a guitar collector. And he's very into wine. He has a wine club on Monday nights and is doing some cool stuff with wine these days.
Yeah, it's, I don't know, I mean, it's a hobby, and like anything else, it's get into collecting and tasting with friends. It's basically a social hangout, a reason to hang out with friends, you know, every week, so.
You never invited
Every
me?
Monday night.
Yeah, everybody knows why, no, basically it's a Monday night thing.
And then do you take advantage of them with your poker skills?
No,
Making him
those two don't come in.
move and then you could start playing poker.
That's how
I
it
am
is
doing
with
a TV
me.
show. I'm planning a TV show that we're working on right now that's combines wine and music, and it's kind of going to be like a travel channel or a Food Network thing, like the Anthony
Kind of looks
Bourdain.
like Anthony
Like-
Bourdain, doesn't he?
Where I'm going to interview like George Duke and Quincy Jones, those kind of people, and talk about wine and music, and it's kind of like a so far the name is Celebrity Wine Cellars, but we haven't settled on that yet, but something like that. You know.
Can I air it on smoothandseattle.com? I'm just doing my thing here. You had a crazy kind of spring summer with your studio, didn't you?
Yeah. I built a brand new studio, and then it flooded a week later. But then we got it back together, so it's all good. I'm working on my new album right now, and you know, Paul and I are getting out there and get some dates on the calendar, and it's gonna be fun.
Excellent. You brought 2 CDs tonight?
Yeah, got my once in a lifetime CD, which you were the first to play.
Oh!
When I got signed to my first record deal, I got a call from the radio promoter saying, Carol Handley in Seattle is spinning your single like crazy, and I think before long it was actually #1 in Seattle. So a very, very big thanks to you guys for support for that.
Thank you. And you brought a couple of CDs.
Yeah, I got White Sand CD and I have Love You Found.
Are you singing for us tonight?
I'm going to, you know, if you're okay with it.
I'm good. I do love his guitar playing, I just gotta say. But I'm glad you brought them. They're back there. They'll be signing them later. I'm gonna let him sing, him play. These guys who are fantastic, who have come up from Portland, Darren's band. Will you please welcome back to the stage, the producers.